If I had a nickel for every time I was watching a movie only to see a brunette white woman throw her hair back before saving the world from a dystopian regime, then I'd have at least two nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's crazy that it happened twice, right? And if we open it up to more than just the white female saviors in Dystopia would, I would be rich because Hunger Games and Divergent are hardly the tip of this iceberg. Mad Max, Interstellar, Handmaid's Tale, Equilibrium, and so many other films seem to hit this trope. Center whiteness at the forefront of some type of oppression or discrimination. Use that white discomfort as a signifier that dystopia has approached. And then find a happy enough way to end the movie where that white person dismantles whatever oppression was immediately affecting them. And bonus points if it positions them to be accepted as leader in establishing the New World Order. Bada bing, bada boom, you have just successfully completed a dystopian film. Congratulations. Now, am I saying that every single dystopian movie is just a white writer's way of monetizing their underdog fantasy? No. But I'm also not saying that. Because when you really look at the optics of some of these white led dystopians, it's kind of hard to tell if this is actually a plotline from someone's imagination or just an oppressor doing a day in my life as an oppressed person cosplay. It gets sticky. I mean, you have to admit, there's even an irony in the willingness to accept these actions as dystopian when they affect imaginary white people. But when eerily similar wrongdoings happen to people of color in the real world, there's hardly this collective understanding that society is overdue for a repair. And I'm not trying to nag your favorite movie. I like some of the Gaga songs. But yes, the imaginary sanctioned violence that Katniss maneuvers from District 12 starts to feel a lot less like a script and a lot more like history passed through generations if you're actually a Black American that remembers learning of the slave boxing matches where they were forced to fight for entertainment. And the forced pregnancies of Gilead start to feel less like fictional literature and more like memories through generations if you're actually an indigenous person that remembers learning of the forced pregnancies and sterilizations of your people. And although I'll be one of the first hosts to put on Interstellar, yes, 2 hours of watching a white guy go to space and governments decide who gets to go to space does lose its punch when you're actively watching real people lose their water and get water restrictions placed on them for data centers. Hello? Meanwhile, Whitey is on the moon? All this being said, I'm not arguing that these multi-million-dollar films missed the mark at accurately portraying dystopia by centering whiteness. I'm arguing that the point was never accuracy. The point was to empower white delusion, to feed the fantasy that they'll always save the day, that it was never their fault, it definitely wasn't racially motivated, and above all, the belief that if they were the ones oppressed, all it would take is a hastily planned revolt and a white person that's fed up enough to get everyone free. Now, I'm not white or a film writer, so I'll be open to some collaborative thought on this. But look at what happens when these films get made. To members of the palm colored community, some of these characters dead ass become figures of empowerment and resilience. And although, in my opinion, it is not remotely similar to Black folks' relationship with Black Panther, very clearly in terms of respective communal significance, they can be compared. Because no shade, but from the naked eye, it looks like y'all watched Katniss struggle for a few movies and a few books, and y'all genuinely fuck with her like she's the reason you have your rights today. No shade. And that leads me to my final pet peeve that comes from centering whiteness in dystopia. Repeated exposure to all this white led struggle porn is enabling viewers to be overly concerned with oppression themed media and not nearly concerned enough with addressing actual oppression. I mean, how many times have we heard the I'm not political crowd suddenly be okay with it when it's in their movie theater and not their news channel? And I'm not even trying to police your media consumption, but genuinely imagine what the world would look like if your average white person consumed even a 1-to-1 ratio of fictional oppression porn to non-fictional freedom fighter content. And even though we can't really guarantee that that would actually translate to real world improvement from that community, imagine the monetary contribution of that. How many projects by Black, Indigenous, people of color would have billions more dollars put into them if that was the standard? So, next time you're watching a group of 99% white people escape a maze or fight off a cyber attack, make sure that you ask yourself how much of your daily empathy diet is being used on fictional media. And if you need to consider expressing some more intentional support to the people IRL expressing some of the things we could only imagine in movies. But thank you so much for watching, and I've been Allure Taylor. Make sure you subscribe down below. Follow me on all channels at Allure Taylor on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Substack. Please subscribe and follow me for more, and I will see you next week. And thank you. Bye.